Welcome to another Workshop Wednesday. I'm Dan DeLong, and I'm here with
Carrie Kahn.
And our workshop is brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com. I'm in uniform.
I
Carrie
am
is
not
because she is
it's cold.
frigid.
Frigid.
And you're in South Carolina. What is the temperature in South Carolina?
Oh, I have to look. It's not in the 70s like it was like a week ago. So,
right. And for those people who are listening to our podcast, just the audio portion, Carrie has a turtleneck and a sweater on.
Yes. And this is not normal for me. It's 57, Dan.
Oh, Arctic.
Feels like 12. I feel like I'm in Canada. So most of the time I can get away with the regular old t-shirt, but today at least I'm not in a robe and slippers. So there's that.
So today we're going to take a pivot. So normally we have Kate joining us from ADP and we talk about payroll stuff, but we want to talk about a new initiative. For the first 5 months or so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. When it's the end of April, is that full 5 months? Or is that 4 months?
That's a good idea.
How to stump Carrie?
We can't count today. It's too cold. Up through April.
Yeah, to the end of April. Intuit is going to have a really heavy initiative to encourage desktop users. Tell us how you really feel. Encourage desktop users who are a good fit. This is
okay.
I'm using air quotes. Good fit for QuickBooks Online to migrate to QuickBooks Online.
So the intention is the Pro and Premier people that really aren't using the bells and whistles that make Pro and Premier better than QuickBooks Online would, in the service industry particularly, could move to QuickBooks Online. So they're encouraging with better pricing. If you do
right. So the part of that, and we're going to talk a little bit about things that aren't necessarily bookkeeping related, because we're going to be talking about the promotion and those types of things, as well as some of the ways to take advantage of this, as well as kind of getting ahead of the marketing push that is going to happen. If you're an accounting professional and you like desktop like Carrie does, you just want to be aware that this is going to be happening in the first 4 months of 2022, right? So it's already started, and Intuit is going to be really aggressively marketing too, because they'll have if you're using desktop and and you update as you should, right? They'll be able to position marketing efforts in the product, right? Like and I'm sure you've seen them, where it's like, hey, upgrade to the next version, or maybe you should add payroll, or maybe you should add payments.
Yeah,
you'll see those things inside of the product, whether you're using QuickBooks Online or desktop, because those are opportunities for cross-selling services in the Intuit ecosystem. So you'll see that, and that will start happening in desktop clients who are deemed to be a good fit for QuickBooks Online. So the first thing we want to talk about is what makes a good fit for QuickBooks Online. And if you ask Carrie, she'll say no one.
No, I don't say nobody. It's just, in my opinion, if someone is actually utilizing the features in desktop, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. They may find some weaknesses, particularly in inventory and job cost tracking, but not everyone uses that. Some just are using a checkbook. And if you're just using a checkbook, you don't need desktop. So that's about where I go. That's where I am.
Right. That's all the good things she has to say about QuickBooks Online.
It's not a one-to-one ratio. And so the marketing machine of Intuit is really strong. So we fight that as resellers every day and get a little salty a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying it's never a good fit. It's just don't just jump in there because you hear the marketing parrot on your ear thinking that it's better, because truly, if desktop is the solution because of those features that I mentioned, like you need sales orders and thick reporting, you can put it in hosting. It's not like online. This is a different world. But if you're a good candidate for this, now's the time to do it. And if you're a pro advisor, get ahead of this, get the good pricing. If you're in our program, you get a better bonus for doing it. They're doing everything they can to convince you to do this. So,
right. So, I mean, what we want to make sure that people are aware of is, one, that this is happening, right? So you want to make sure that you're not surprised, right? Like, it's the same reason to understand, in QuickBooks Online, what in the world is Melio and what does it have to do with online bill pay? Because your customers are going to come and ask you, right? And you're like, well, what is this? A scheduled online bill payment? What does that mean? If you don't know about it, then it's going to be, like you're caught off guard, right?
Right.
So
Knowledge is power. You're absolutely right.
If your customer comes to you and says, well, what's this all about QuickBooks Online? They're encouraging me to do that. And what will happen, right? So it's a good idea to just, again, make sure that you're aware of what's happening, and then you'll be able to speak to it when the customer texts you at 2 a.m. because they will.
If you're proactive about it, I mean, you could create a newsletter. I mean, I'm just thinking out the box and say you are probably aware that Intuit is marketing and pushing and encouraging for QuickBooks Online, and come up with your own. Is this the right fit for me? And if it is, you want to help your customer along that journey. You don't want to just let them click on the product. They'll pay more. They'll be frustrated. They need a professional on their side, especially if they're, if they're utilizing you to do a lot of the, the grunt work inside of QuickBooks. They're going to need your help. Right. And if they do it on their own, it could be a disaster.
And that's a great suggestion for Carrie, what you just said about, sending out a newsletter. Because a lot of times, if people see these promotions or service messages that Intuit would like to call them,
marketing machine of Intuit,
and they click on it and then they sign up. You might be able to get them a better promotional pricing on Intuit, the QuickBooks Online product, right? Like, depending on who you're partnered with or positioned with regarding that. Or, as in QB Connect was announced, there's a revenue share, right? Like, if they go around that, then you end up either not getting them the best price or being left out in whatever sales process you might have, where revolve around how they set up.
Right. Definitely. They're not going to get the best price. So do have the confidence in that and understand the pricing and what you can get, because inside the product is not cheaper than what we can get. So understand that. Yeah.
So it's probably giving you an action item, Carrie, to create a newsletter for all of your
what a good idea.
Right. Who could you find to be able to do that, I wonder?
I don't know. Do we have somebody that helps us with that?
So another thing is a best practice, right? So we want to talk about maybe the best practice of the first thing we want to do is QuickBooks Online a good fit, right? So we've created a tools and resources page at schoolofbookkeeping.com, and we're currently working on like a definitive guide of a side-by-side comparison of every feature, and whether it's in self-employed, QuickBooks Online Simple Start, all the way up to Enterprise Diamond, right? So you'll be able to see, okay, is this feature in what version of QuickBooks? so that if you have an idea, or you're talking to a potential client and they say, well, I need sales orders, you can see what versions of QuickBooks Desktop or Online would have sales orders.
Not QuickBooks Online or self-employed. There's the, sorry to give that away. Yeah. And not QuickBooks Desktop
alert.
Pro. Premier Up.
Spoiler alert. No
Spoiler
sales
alert.
Orders.
Yeah. And sales orders is a major workflow consideration for many clients. I mean, how many hours have we spent with customers, and you get down to the last minute and they think they want QuickBooks Online. We've wasted all this time, and they go, no, I have to have sales orders. So it's real important to understand. And our decision tool, I think, does a really good job with those big ones. And then you can get into the weeds of it. I mean, comparing reports is really hard because they're so different. They're so different between the programs.
So we've created a few choosers: the QuickBooks chooser, the payroll chooser, and the data conversion chooser. But the QuickBooks chooser, if you launch that from our resources page, and this is available to anyone. You don't have to be a member of schoolofbookkeeping.com to be able to use it, because we want to make sure that you're set up with the right resources, right? So this will this kind of guide you through that process. First question it asks is, are you a partnership, LLC, or a corporation, a sole proprietor, or retail storefront? What is it that your type of business is looking for? So let's just say it's a partnership, right? Do you have one business to track or many? Because that is now going to be a cost consideration when you're dealing with QuickBooks Online. So that's like the first question to ask is like, how many businesses are you needing to track? Because now
one subscription per business.
One subscription is one EIN, right? So if I said multiple here, then it's going to start down that path of, okay, QuickBooks Online requires a unique subscription for each EIN. So how many are they multiple unique entities? Sometimes people will track different businesses, but it's still under one parent EIN, right? And you can do that in one version of QuickBooks Online, or one subscription rather. You don't have to necessarily have multiple subscriptions if you're doing that. But if they're unique entities, then it's going to start down the path of, is cost a consideration? How many unique users would need access, right? So if you have more than 5, that automatically puts you into the enterprise level, because you can't have more than 5 users without QuickBooks Enterprise, right? So how many unique companies do you need to track? Well, okay, we just choose, right? Well, let's say it's 5, right? And then it's going to say, with 10 users, QBO is a better value compared to desktop with hosting. However, with 5 companies, then it's going to then guide you into the maybe QuickBooks Online with hosting might be, or QuickBooks Desktop with hosting would be a better fit. You can track multiple companies with one subscription of QuickBooks Desktop.
Well, one call out is Enterprise lets you do the reporting. You can do the multiple company reporting.
Yeah, you can do combined reporting across those companies.
Yes, in Desktop, not Online.
Yes, unless you have advanced with each of them having the advanced subscription. So those tools and resources are there. So it will guide you through the right version of QuickBooks, and then you can choose the data conversion guide of how do I do that? Because in School of Bookkeeping, we do have a course of how to do these conversions, whether it's desktop to online, online to desktop, online to another online subscription, or if it's something outside of Intuit, what do you do then? If it's Sage 50 or some other version of accounting software, if you want to take that data and put it into QuickBooks. So those are available there in our course library. So best practice, right? So a good best practice when it comes to, okay, I've determined, okay, maybe this is a good fit, right? Because you'll never know. It's kind of like taking your car into the shop, right? It's making a noise. The mechanic's not going to know exactly what's the problem until he actually looks under the hood. So oftentimes you want to try this out before you jump in feet first into the deep end of the pool. January 1st is the cutoff. Okay, we're going to convert our data and go, to the wall.
And with desktop too, when you convert, you're not throwing it into the trash can. You can always say abort, 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 and go back to what you were doing before. So that way you can see what it looks like. And if the end result is not what you want, then regroup and go back to what worked.
Right. So the best practice is to do a trial, right? Try, because you can do trial subscriptions of QuickBooks Online. Do a trial subscription of QuickBooks Online, and then do the test conversion, because then that's going to tell you, okay, what am I in for when I do the conversion? Does everything come over the way I'd expect it to? And then what's the learning curve? And during that trial period of 30 days is typically the trial period, run them concurrently. Yes, it's extra work. If you enter an invoice in QuickBooks Desktop, you got to enter it into QuickBooks Online. But one that's going to help you determine, what is the learning curve of, okay, this is how I used to do it in QuickBooks Desktop. This is how I would need to do it in QuickBooks Online. Is that better? Is it worse? Is it the same? Right? Connect your bank accounts, so that you can see what the bank feeds are like. But you're doing things concurrently in both systems simultaneously. So you've got your desktop and your online that you're running your data in. That's going to give you a kick the tires, trial period to give you an idea of, okay, what is good, what is bad, what is indifferent about these two different systems. Am I a good fit? And then at the end of that trial period, if you have promotional pricing that you can offer your client, or if you have a better way to be able to handle that, you'll know what you're in for. And then you can set them up with another QuickBooks Online subscription. This is the live one. And then do the conversion again. You've already got up-to-date data because you've been tracking them concurrently in the desktop data. So you just do that conversion again. And to Carrie's point, you're not kicking desktop to the curb. It doesn't wipe out the data after you've done the conversion. You can still work in desktop. And that way, if you've done this for 30 days and realize, no, online, that cat's nice and pretty, but I want to stay with my dog, right? You've still got live data in your desktop file, so you just pick up from that point and abandon the QuickBooks Online subscription. Don't put in anything billing information, so that it will just and that would be your trial period, and it will just expire. Anything you want to add there to that?
Just be careful process? when you do those trials too, because if you think you're going to stay with it, work with a good pro advisor that gets good pricing, because you don't want to get into one of these marketing machine Intuit things. The discount is the old, really high in the beginning, and after 3 months it goes up. We have better pricing, the pro advisors. And if you're doing that conversion, Dan, we do get the 50% off for 12 months. So
right. Yeah. So as long as you're as part of this promotional period during the first 4 months of 2022, there are deeper discounts as well as some promotional offerings from Intuit to I don't want to say get people, but I mean it really is entice, encourage.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be nice about it.
Well, the salespeople get incentivized to sell QuickBooks Online, so they're getting paid more if they get more conversions. So
right.
There's that. You just want to make sure you get. the best pricing available.
I don't know if you remember, what was it, Microsoft Office, the little paper clip. That's what it reminds me of. When you would happen to click on something, and then this paper clip would come up. Hey, it looks like you're trying to write an email.
Yeah.
How can I help? That's kind of like the marketing or sales. Like, hey, it looks like you're ready to go into QuickBooks Online. You want payments and payroll and all these other apps that how about QuickBooks Commerce? What do you like?
Yeah.
Once you've dipped your toe into that water, sometimes you're not quite sure what might be lurking.
Yeah.
It's just, again, another thing to be aware of, right? If you're in a trial, that there is going to be a lot of efforts to get the conversion, right? So bear that in mind, because you're in the trial. There's going to be a lot of now, and especially in an online, you don't have to update anything. It could be notifications put all over the place, like, hey, don't forget to subscribe. And then now that you're in a subscription, that adds another layer of complexity if they've actually used it for a period of time and not done the things with desktop to make it easier to start a new subscription.
Yep. Clear as mud, right?
That was your cue to say something, Carrie.
I was just like, I hope people are understanding what we're talking about. The marketing machine at Intuit is heavy inside the software, but work with the pro advisor reseller and try to get the best pricing for your client. If you are the client, work with the reseller or pro advisor to get better pricing for yourself. The conversion season right now, for resellers, we get a little bit more commission to do that. So we offer better pricing. So we're happy to help with all that. But there's, like you say, there's some things to consider. If you have too many targets or if your file is too big, there's things you can do to safely shrink it. And that's not where you're throwing it away. That we use a third party, and it will take, say you have 10 years of data, you can say just shave off the last 2 years up to 12/31/2019. You have both files, and then maybe that gives the numbers that makes it better for that conversion. So there's things to consider. But like Dan's talking about, if you run both programs at the same time, you'll see quickly if it's even the right fit. That's an easy way to do it.
Yeah, Mary asked a question on Facebook.
Oh.
If we sign up a client through CBG, which is your partner program, Carrie, that you have, for QBO from the desktop, do we go straight into the paid version, or do we have the option for the 30-day trial?
Good question.
With your platform, you're just going into the
right.
I mean, with your arrangement with Intuit through CBG, that would be a paid version, discounted, no trial, right?
Right. I don't know if this promo includes a trial or not, but you can put in the notes that would like a 30-day trial if it's an option, and that we automatically order it because so many people forget to put their credit cards in and they were losing the discount and paying full price. So that's why we chose to just skip the trial, bypass the trial. But in the comments, when you place an order, you can request the 30-day trial. And if it's an option within this, we'll try. If it's not, we'll let you know.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a learning curve on this.
We had to redo our landing pages, and it was a lot.
So it's a good idea to put that in the notes if you're ordering through a partner or a reseller or directly through Intuit. But you could go to QuickBooks.com, set up a trial that way, for the client or for yourself, and then invite the client that way. Just that way is another option, and just keep that in mind that is not the client that is not, and even name the company, right? ABC Plumbing Trial, so that that is that company name is not the one that you want this trial run or whatever it is that you want to call it on the QuickBooks Online subscription. So just by looking at it, you'll know that that is not the one that we want. This is just a sandbox of the converted data. One, to make sure that everything came over properly, and what work lies ahead as far as redoing some of the things, setting up your bank accounts.
You need to get a new merchant account if you sign payroll is completely new. So there's a lot to consider.
Right.
But yeah. But that was a good question about that 30-day trial.
That way, by doing a trial, you flush out some of these things that would bubble up to the surface. If you just jumped into the deep end of the pool with feet, 2 feet. I'm trying to think of the analogy. It's just not, the words are not coming very well. Not
a wordy Wednesday.
Yeah. And Larissa is actually, so now we've got a whole bunch of questions here.
Oh, goodness.
You mentioned shaving the QuickBooks desktop file to start fresh in QBO. Will this be still considered a conversion? Yes. So I can answer that. As long as there is an active QuickBooks license to the customer, that will be considered a conversion. In your case, you ask for that on the ordering page to make sure that will be checked. I don't know. Right. I'm not sure what the process is going to be.
And I did ask our rep, can we do the 30-day trial? He thinks we can. So if you want it, we can certainly try. Just ask. When we do execute those conversions where they're going from desktop and offering that 50% off, we do have to know their desktop license and their desktop data file name, like abcplumbing.qbw. That's so that in the back end, somehow they can check and make sure we weren't just saying we're going to convert.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And then, for our workshop. So this is a good discussion. Turned into a little bit of a partner call for you, but
most pro advisors like to tune in. So,
Yeah. But this is important for, for all bookkeepers and pro advisors, not just those that are, part of the reseller channel like yourself. But it's good to know, and again, to be ahead of that so that you're not surprised when a customer comes to you and says, "Hey, what about this?"
Yeah, exactly.
You can be ahead of the game.
Very important. So I think we need to work on a newsletter when we get off this call.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us for Workshop Wednesday, and we'll be back to our regular payroll. I know you're very disappointed that we didn't do something with payroll today.
Oh, wow.
But we thought since this was going to be a hot topic, in the next couple of months, we wanted to make sure that people were aware that this was happening, and use that as our topic today. And we'll hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Workshop Wednesday.
Have a great week.
Say goodbye.
Sorry, I'm still texting and trying to clarify about that the trial. So there it is. Right. We're still learning as we go, but we want to get a good discount. So great conversation. Have a great week.